Foreign investors have been expressing readiness to strengthen partnership and increase investment in Nigeria as they commend the new climate for businesses in the country. Correspondent Musbaud and Wahab reports that President Bola Tinubu received in audience some international investors, including Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates and the president of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, at the State House.
And also committing to do more and to help, Nigeria so that our health sector will keep improving, which will turn out to be better for the whole citizens of the country. Well, I expect that it's going to be better for everybody. There will be more money now to put into education, into health, infrastructure and other areas. And our own side is to help support him to make sure that he achieves his own vision and his goals.
One of the key changes that His Excellency the President has made in the first few days of his tenure has been making Naira free float onto the market, letting the markets decide, as opposed to CBN's very convoluted structure of 4 or 5 exchange rates, which was very difficult to navigate for companies like ourselves and many, many others, MNCs. As you've all seen, the Naira has devalued, but the worldwide markets have given a standing ovation to this move. And the dollar bonds have strengthened here in Nigeria, and generally there is an excitement in the investing and companies who are going to be coming to put up their bases here in Nigeria.
Now, before we begin our discussion on the program, let's take this report from our State House correspondent, Musbaud and Wahab, on the signing of the student loan bill by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The ever-productive Nigerian youth, the greatest of 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 the greatest.
Although seeking Bola Tinubu demonstrated his connection with the youths, but this was more than a mere campaign strategy. Tinubu went into a pact with the Nigerian students. 4 years program is 4 years. There will be student loan. If you cannot finance yourself, we give you a loan. You complete the education. When you get the work, only when you start working and with the capacity to pay, then you start to pay. This year's Democracy Day commemoration was on a low key, but something bigger than a flamboyant celebration is here. Just third week into his administration, it is hope renewed for hundreds of thousands of indigent Nigerian students.
That promise he made has been kept. He has just signed that bill into law, which henceforth will allow or enable our indigent students to access the federal government loans to fund their educational pursuit or career. And this is how it's done in other developed climes, other developed societies all over the world.
It will be an interest-free loan. It's not a loan that you say you pay any interest on. No. What we have now is that nobody should say money did not allow him to go to school. That opportunity will be there, it will be inclusive, and it will be equitable.
Hope assured, but there will be time.
Well, joining us in the studio to speak on the Student Loan Act is a financial expert, Kolawole Kainde, and Senate President, National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Felix Atta. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Well, the Student Loan Act is no more news now. What do you make of it? Maybe we should start with Kolawole Kainde from the human development aspect of the whole Loan Act.
Thank you, Musa, and good morning, Nigerians. The Student Loan Act, as we see, it's now going to be operational. What it means is that more people that are able and are willing to go for higher education can now do that. And what that means is that there's going to be a catalytic change in the educational system, in the economy as a whole, and so it's very easy to break down. One of the things is that when students have access to higher education, I'm sure most of them will have opportunity to, one, fulfill their heart desires, and you agree with me that education still remains the shortest way to living poverty. And you agree with me also that the Student Loan Act empowers students okay, to access these loans themselves. There have been so many misinformation and disinformation about the Loan Act, and I'm sure you'll still come up with some of those questions. But the point is that a student can now approach the Student Affairs Officer, and of course the VC, and of course through with all the chains of command, and eventually be a part of someone that will enjoy the perks of governance. I think it's a wonderful thing for students of today.
Okay, Mr. Atta, I believe this must have come as a welcome development for you as part of NANS. What do you make of it?
For us as a union, it's a welcome development. And in regards to that, immediately when this bill was signed into act, the leadership of NANS in its entirety with other ESCOs had a courtesy call with the president, congratulating and appreciating him for saying the plight of Nigerian students. And
you were part of the team that I saw at the State House?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I was part of the team as the Senate president. I was there to stand to represent over 420 student union presidents in our various campuses. So it is a welcome development, and we went to also air out some worrisome challenges that we feel that shouldn't be allowed to reoccur in the implementation of these bills, so that the students who are meant to be the ones to benefit from this bill, this act directly, the end should be justified. So Mr. President also gave us all required attention and gave us a good reply, and we are believing that.
What are those challenges? You made mention of challenges there.
Yes, one of the worrisome challenges was that the student not having a representative in the composition of the board. Okay. We aired that out because we felt that it was very important that the students should have a representative, so that some of the key ways of selecting those who benefit from this will be made free, fair, and credible. And of course, we also saw one of the challenges, which is ASU have not supported the cost of the signing into this bill. And ASU has also been made to be part and member of the board this year. So we felt there was need for us to get clarifications in that regard.
Okay, Mr. Kolawale, there's this issue of, funding this particular loan acts. When you look at it, a certain percentage is coming from different sources. How would you assess this in terms of sustainability? If today we're to, well, already it's been signed, so definitely everything will take shape. So how do you see the sustainability of this on the long run?
Okay, this loan itself is going to be a revolving loan. That means people that have access will have to put back into the pool. That's one. The second thing is that there are 6 sources of funding this bill and this drive. Don't forget that even our national budget is just, education is just 5% of that, and that covers the entire spectrum of education. But this particular one is for higher students, people that are seeking higher degree. And if you do some vague computation of 1% of taxes levies from customs, from FIRS, then process of 1% from process of oil and gas, you see education bond and endowment funds and gifts and all of that, you know that it could be tripling to 500 billion, close to $1 trillion, which is, I believe, is sustainable and sufficient for that. I will have even appeal that we look about increasing those percentages, but don't forget that
But you have to consider other things as well. All things being equal.
You know that there's other areas that also need government intervention. So for starters, I think this fund will meet a whole lot of people, and it will be assessed by a whole lot of people. It's a game changer.
Okay, Mr. Atta, you know, when you talk about students loan, students accessing loan and things like that, and I understand that the time of repayment is going to be after they concluded their national youth service, 2 years, right?
Yes.
What the thing here is, I don't know whether there's any provision for one to really gain employment after 2 years of service. And because when you talk about repayments now, how do you repay when you don't have job and things like that?
For us, I think in regards to the repayment, we've also seen situations where people who are committed to their education in one way or the other as a result of unavailability of funds to complete this have challenges. We're trying to look at the disadvantage and the advantage. We are saying that these loans will encourage them, will make sure that they key into it. So when it comes to the issue of employment, of course, that's the reason why in recent times we talk about entrepreneurship skills. So it is expected that aside the learning, aside the fact that you're having your academic pursuit, that there is need for you to also get a skill, develop yourself, so that even when the employment is a challenge out there after your NYSC, that you could also get something doing. You could also make an aim by the creativity or the skill that you have gotten acquainted to. And from there, you will start earning, and in that regards, you will be able to see how you can repay this loan. Now, of course, you know, the loan is optional. And knowing fully well that you must gain employment, because with the findings that we've gotten from this bill, you must gain employment before you start repaying this bill.
What about if you don't get employment? No, it's a possibility that we all should look at. You know, you can't just exempt other possibilities. But what about if you don't gain employment? And also, I don't know whether it's also part of what you discussed with the president. Provision for employment, at least after, you know, service. It must not necessarily come from government, but there's private. We have organized private sector.
Yes, of course, we did speak to Mr. President also in regards to the ease of doing business and a way of setting up some of the modalities that as an association, we have tried to prioritize a way of trying to have partnership with CAC so that they can register part of our indigenous students who are on campus and who in one way or the other gets involved in entrepreneurship businesses so that they can earn a living. Of course, with that, people who have not even gained employment can use that, and the certain percentage that is made to be used in recovering this loan that has been given to students, at least that the aim can still be achieved.
Okay, what do you make of it, Mr. Kinde?
Most university degrees now have a curriculum that infuses entrepreneurship into it. So when people say they are going to come out of the university and won't start to be employed, then you need to start to think about the mindset. That means there needs to be a change in mindset. Every discipline has an entrepreneurial side of it. And we are clamoring for streamlining and thinning down the government. So government is going to empower, or needs to empower, the private sector the more. And we're going to see that happen quite a lot of times. And it's also good to be futuristic. Anybody that wants to access this loan must first know that they are studying courses that would expand their entrepreneurial capabilities. But can everybody become an entrepreneur? No. But you know that there is also what they call the gig economy. I don't know whether you've heard about it. A gig economy means that people, they have informal structure of employment, and that is happening all over the world. And of course, on the internet, you see people who do a side job on the internet, work for some hours, and they get paid and all of that. And students have already keyed into that already, and they're getting employment. You might now say maybe it's underemployment, but there's some form of employment. Now, 2 years after NYC, is it practicable? Well, we'll need to get to the field and implement that. I'm sure as a loan officer, sometimes back, I know that loans sometimes need to have reviews because these are things that are real and it has to do with our lives and the realities of the market. And if you probably don't get a job for the next 10 years, I don't think that's going to be possible, because you need to just create something, find yourself in any productive engagement. If you're not in the gig economy, create a job for yourself and make something out of nothing. There's so many things that youths do online today, and a perfect example is what you see on the internet, and you see that even the entertainment industry contributed a sizable number to our GDP, and you can see that there is a shift even in the worker, in the work ethic and the way we work in Nigeria now. Most of the youths now, they want to transit to self-employment, and there are going to be a lot of collaborations, and you see students coming together to form consortiums of businesses, and it's so endless. So
that Mr. Kainde, there's something there's this when you look at our educational system, and you look at, we are talking about manpower development, right? Would you say we're in that position where the manpower we're producing from our institutions meet up the demand of today's labor, or what will I say, demand for productivity or whatever?
Okay, I will
so
give
would you say, because when you look at it practically, you discover there's a mismatch. And today, we're also talking about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence taking the place, the work of, threatening so many jobs out there. Okay, so how do you put this in this whole mix? You understand?
You know, we're in the fourth, we're in Industry 4.0, whereby technology takes the place. Don't forget that at some point we were in the agricultural revolution, people that were just doing their O's complained that they were not going to get jobs. Yes, the level of industrialization took some out. You recall that there were people that were typists at some point when the computer came, they were out of job, but a lot of people learned new skills and computer skills and all of that. I'll give you an example. When I was running my master's program, I opened a photo studio and an online digital library, and I had to make a pitch to my parents then before they could finance my projects. And I know a lot of young people do that. A lot of us are entrepreneurial, and thinking that technology will take, or technology will impede youths getting jobs is a misnomer. We need to start to disabuse ourselves that the tech space is so wild, so enlarged, and you just have to find your purpose and leverage that technology. Technology is going to even enhance the ability for these youths to get employment.
Okay, Mr. Atta, let me come to you. Don't you think at this point in time we need some sort of a reform in the educational system so that to go along with this Loan Act? Because I think the priority for me, the way I look at it, the priority should be on entrepreneurship, and not just, having the skills, but helping those students with the loans to start a business so that they can be able to pay back.
You see, the loan itself is targeted at cushioning the effect of having out-of-school students. I want you to understand that for us to visit the president to thank him for this was as a result of the current challenges that have befallen Nigerian students. In recent times, we've had cut across all of our campuses where school fees are being increased indiscriminately. School fees are being increased indiscriminately. And looking at the implementation of this loan, it is optional. Of course, certainly, we have believed that with the signing into the act of this bill is going to help us reduce the out of school children that we're going to have. In one way or another, our members in their various campuses will have a positive impact in making sure that they secure loans and be able to complete their academic pursuit. So cut across all over our tertiary institutions, recently we have experienced that our institutions have increased school fees indiscriminately. So certainly, this loan is going to cushion the effect of the challenges that we are going to have as the aftermath.
Okay, let me come back to you, Mr. Kayinde. Where do you see the Nigerian educational system in the nearest future with this development?
I'm seeing something that is going to be hybrid. You will agree that tertiary vocational education has really died in Nigeria. We will see a resurgence of that. A whole lot of us are doing that now. You will see a lot of educationists and educational entrepreneurs are creating an ecosystem whereby you infuse professional skills, technical skills and technology skills to scale, because we need to industrialize, and that is what Nigeria is on path now. There's so many things that have happened in the recent few weeks that shows that we are about to kickstart that industrialization. So we're going to see the education system that's going to be also hydra-headed. We'll see educational edtech taking prominence. We'll see vocational education taking preeminence, and not just on skills that are on basic industrial things, but we're talking about professional skills, on-the-job skills, job-ready skills, and we're talking about assessing education on bite size, or as just in time, and
I'm afraid we have to leave it here. This is an ongoing discussion. I believe we'll continue to have, continue the conversation on this. For now, I think we have taken much time on this, but we will still continue subsequently. Thank you very much, Kolawole Kayinde, and that's a financial expert, and the Senate President, National Association of Nigerian Students, Felix Atta. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure always.
Thank you.
Now, moving on, equities trading activities at the Nigerian Exchange Limited resumed the week slightly positive amid renewed bargain hunting activity. The all-share index rose by 0.02% to settle at 50,016.12 basis points. Equities investors earned 0.57 billion naira as the market capitalization closed the day at 32.13 trillion naira. Next is Global Market Report.
Investors will be monitoring the UK this week, with inflation data due Wednesday and a monetary policy announcement Thursday. A 25 basis point hike is widely expected after the European Central Bank hiked and the Federal Reserve paused last week. European stocks, however, dipped at Tuesday's open amid stuttering investors' confidence. Asia market traded mixed Tuesday as investors digested China's central bank decision to cut its 1-year and 5-year loan prime rates by 10 basis points each to 3.55% and 4.20%. The move comes after the People's Bank of China cut some of its key lending rates last week. Mainland Chinese markets were mixed following the announcement, with the Shanghai Composite down 0.35%, while Shenzhen Composite up 0.24% and the Hang Seng Index slid 1.9%. U.S. stock futures ticked lower early Tuesday as investors looked ahead to a holiday-shortened week of trading. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 152 points, or 0.44%. S&P 500 futures pulled back 0.29%. Nasdaq 100 futures also declined 0.29%. While it's also a rest start for most stocks in Africa, with Namibia's overall index and South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 starting the day negative. Boston Able, Business Express.
Our Business Express returns Wednesday at 3 p.m. Musa Abubakar, thanks for your company.